I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence, so on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches and fevers as a child. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was Hermanubis' way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on, and win the right to wield this power for myself, fair and square.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of nobility. Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal of our own.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on them!
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can, in terms that they cannot refuse. That's how we win this.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like to take a look at his grandfather's condition.
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us anything we don't already know.
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down. We don't want to disturb him.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. I'm sure that your physicians have come to the same conclusion. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of work and now by the effects of old age. Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition, he doesn't have long left. A few days at most.
Yeah. I've known for a long time.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. You have a broader range of concerns and a more pragmatic approach. So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while Bamoon is still alive to see it. That's what really matters to you. I know it.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here. You know that better than anyone.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you have a very different perspective from the men who raised you.
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up having to make the tough decisions.
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently than the people we inherited it from. I accept, Cyno. This all began because of Hermanubis, so let's end it with the rite he himself created. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several days, winning the support of many fine people. That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of our founding rites, the rite of duels. It's where it all began.
Sounds very fitting. I'm in.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you to participate in this rite, along with your chosen companions.
3 against 3. Sounds good.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. And Cyno, both of us must put our Ba fragment on the line. The winner takes them both. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that must be addressed for the Temple of Silence to move forward. I can make no concessions on that front.
None needed. We're on the same page. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus, and consider this past dispute resolved. If you win, I'll return my power to you.
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremonial hall tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock.
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the desert.
You have to win. You need this power, both as General Mahamatra and for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Surely that's a sign it thinks of you as its rightful owner.
Both as General Mahamatra And for myself. Yeah, when you put it that way, I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself. Not everyone could have done that.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. It's just as Dia said. Prejudice has pushed people apart. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamoon cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't think that Zethos is any kind of villain. He's just doing what he thinks is best. Tomorrow, everything will be resolved.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all sages, Lord Hermanubis, as our witness, for his power and authority is present in our midst. This is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no disruption from the audience shall be tolerated. It is incumbent upon all to observe the duel with the utmost respect and reverence throughout the proceedings. Representing the Temple of Silence, the Defenders.
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these years. I am surprised by your decision, Zethos.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather. Just leave it to me.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your positions and decide on the order of battle. We come not to debate what brings our challengers here.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her...
Okay, then you're second.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
A little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Hey!
A swift end to the first bout. I now invite the duelists of the second bout to please step forward. When you're both ready, you may begin.
Let's begin.
Watch out! He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
Let's nip that in the bud.
Thus ends the second bout.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the when you're both ready.
I am Sethos. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And even in our darkest hour, when we could not see a way forward, we chose not to abandon hope, but to embark on a brave new experiment so that we might prevail. We earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power, longing to see his spirit and his light. Now, I will fight.
I am Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spontamod. I fight in defense of my power, my professor, and my nation. And you, I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel, and Hermanubis...
Everyone. Well, my grandfather is a wise leader. He is also... But our faith has held us back for too long. Times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. I thought of you, Cyno. You and I, each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what makes...
I am more than just a warrior. I am my own...
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us. So show me your answer, Cyno. Show me I can be more than my fate. Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer? Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tainarian priests and led them to the city of Tule-Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise city of Tule-Tula was spared under the guiding hand of the Tainarians. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule-Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our Lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule-Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule-Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel okay?
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos. You'll get through this.
I know. I'll miss him.
I guess you were prepared for this. It's been a long time coming, huh?
Yeah, he's been on death's door for a very long time now. I think it was only through sheer willpower that he managed to hold on to this point. At least, he was able to see this chapter come to a close before he passed.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanupis fragments. That entitles you to be our new leader, Cyno.
But that's never going to work, as I'm sure you realize. I'm the General Mahamatra. I am needed back at the Academia. I did foresee this possibility, and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, records, and environment here. As such, I am ill-suited to be your leader. Sethos, I believe the honor should go to you. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions, the Ba fragments would most likely be in your hands by now. I'm sure Bamoon never meant for anyone but you to be his successor.
You really think so?
I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the final result. Perhaps he had an inkling that this would be the way things end.
Well, in any case, since the Ba fragments are with me now, I guess I can call the shots. Sethos, I would like you to succeed Bamoon as the new leader of the Temple of Silence. You are more suited to the role than I, and I have complete faith that you will be an excellent leader. Just think of it as doing me a favor.
But doesn't that render everything that we've been through up to now meaningless?
No, it doesn't. This experience has allowed us to become friends, which means that the Academia, that's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself.
I will try. To be honest,
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamoon's intentions from the very that way. No matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba frag. Had you won, the Temple of Silence would have doubled it, and were I to win, he correctly anticipated that I wouldn't suddenly drop everything to become the... He knew that the Temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the Academia too. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the Academia.
and here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all these trivia. You're absolutely right. Grandfather and I considered this from every angle. Thank you for everything, Cyno. As a gesture of our gratitude, the Temple of Silence has a wealth of information on King Deshret's civil... But you must be exceedingly careful with your selection of candidates. By the way, Tighnari, my grandfather was so happy to see. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tighnari. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tighnarian companions. The Tighnarians who left Tuletula joined their human counterparts in the rainforest. A few centuries later, in all likelihood, those...
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tighnarians, but I never knew that my
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone seen...
Yes, Cyrus. You'll probably find him...
If it's true that you and your grandfather really planned for everything to turn out this...
Who knows? Perhaps all of us.
Someone's got to make the decisions when history... I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. But once things return to normal, if we're going to work together, both sides have to get to know...
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
This kind of weather is more enjoyably spent under the cover of shade.
What were you thinking, gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, You told not a soul what you were up to.
Oh, please, will you stop your yelling?
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning and sagehood know a one-man suicide mission, That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation—
All right, all right. Honestly, the way you're going off on me, it's like you—
I've got nothing more to say. What's the point of berating it?
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh and blood— Okay, look. Fine, I admit it,
1 month?
Inari's master is really laying into Cyrus.
Professor brought this up.
Wow. The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back—
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation. We can go for dinner afterwards.
Makes sense. I'm in.
Paimon's coming too! Let's go!
Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on?
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. Yet when you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve—
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Far—
You're right.
It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved.
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. Say, Madam Farazan, I can see you're pretty upset. Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful. Well, of course the offer still stands. Come on, Poor Kale getting dragged off like that.
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What? What do you mean, cup? Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tighnari and I used it while we were in school.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
2 people left. Let's bring them along. Am I hallucinating? Or do I see Kaveh and Alhaitham engaged in diligent studying?
We're just reorganizing all the books we used. Look, there's a whole mountain of them.
There's no rush. Nobody reads these books anyway. My sincere thanks to you both.
Yes, with your help, we resolved the issue rather...
I see. The Temple of Silence resorted to rather unique means of self-preservation.
And it sounds like they managed to preserve a whole load of ancient documents.
That day will come. The Temple of Silence is a hugely now, as a token of my appreciation.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. Although after the last few...
Sure.
Maybe I'll borrow something to read.
What a bunch of amateurs.
And then the Traveler just pounced on their opponent and knocked him right out cold. Then there was Tainari. He put up an amazing fight too. We ended up winning all 3 bouts. Whoa. Part of me wishes I'd been there to see it, but I'd have been...
A truly edifying account of the events. Bereft of detail, but it has livened up the room all the same.
Hey, Paimon included all the juicy details. The Traveler just pounced and then waved their sword like this, then spun around and blocked.
Despite winning 3 bouts in a row, you still ceded the position.
Of course.
I got to be a champion too for once. I've not sparred much with desert folk before.
Yeah, huge place. It felt like something right out of an epic poem. Imagine this. It was like there was...
Maybe save that one for later, Paimon.
I think that'll do me for today.
Shall we stop off at the House of Dana again before heading home?
My thoughts exactly. See you around.
I should get going as well. See you all later.
I need to go say thanks to the Core 30 for their help. Also, Sir Nephis says he wanted to introduce me to some of the Academia's work processes. So...
Kale's come a long way.
Everyone's a work in progress, you never...
Yeah, true.
That was good. It feels like everything's finally... Life is all about these moments when you can finally relax and hang out with good friends after a job well done. And also...
Do you 3 have anything planned for the rest of the day? If not, would you come somewhere with me? That's a secret for now.
Okay. I think I can guess where you're talking about. It'll...
Well, now Paimon's curious!
been a while since I last made my way up here. Need any help? As...
It's a nice spot, isn't it?
What a great view! We're so high up!
Traveler. Turn around. This is my secret base. Somewhere high. When I was a student, I used to slip away and climb up here all the time. Back then, I had a lot of the same questions that Sethos was asking. Our gifts help us to find our rightful place in the world.
You two really are like brothers.
I feel the same way. Of course.
I still remember one time when we came up here to chat and do our homework. Cyno...
That was the one and only time. Nothing will ever slip through.
Those were good times.
You know, Paimon really shouldn't be able to imagine Cyno...
Then make it stop. You guys carry on without...
Okay.
Huh? Hey, you're not...
Oh, my days.
Professor, what are you
Cyno. Just the man I'm looking for. Guess what I've...
Some old photos?
Can you believe it? This notebook was just sitting in a pile of art. I was at the academia earlier to discuss my workload with Neph. Oh, time flies. Look how tiny you are in this picture.
You look quite young yourself in that one. Ah, it's this one. I remember...
Yep. Looks like her work, all right. Who else could have...
And this one.
Oh, cheeky
Is there something you'd like to say to me, Professor?
Like what? Like... hey, at moments like this, I hardly know... I can't pretend I'm a good person. Bamoon had every reason to despise me. And well...
Don't be ridiculous, you...
Is that... Oh, I've dreamt of that place many times after leaving the... Oh, it was... What of that? You've matured so much over the years, I know.
Since you're my professor, I should save you some face by not calling you out on all the non-answers you just get.
Good thinking. Take your own advice next time. Seriously, why bully an old man like me? Hey, wait, how did I not notice this one earlier?
Lisa...
Look how cute you were when you were little.
Yeah, and look how serious and professional...
Oh, I can't compete with you anymore. First...
Don't say it.
That... Hey, what would you say to me?
I'd like that. Let's find a time...
All right, I'll add it to my schedule. Let's... Wait, no. Next week is the tomato growing competition. I have got to...
Or you could find a real hobby.